move over to the quarterbacks. Sorry, Matthew, you got to wait one more for tight ends.
Oh, man.
I know you're just itching to talk tight ends. Geno Smith has got the Lions. He's available in 57% of leagues. Jay, Geno's looked great this year, and we talked about this a couple days ago. Even the interceptions are just bad luck throws or drops.
Yep, they haven't been his fault. He's got 3 of them so far. I'm not sure any of them were on him. I think Geno so far has had the biggest gap between how good his real-life football production is and just the statistical production fantasy-wise. Like, Geno, just in terms of how he's playing, has been a top 8 quarterback this year in this Ryan Grubb offense. Also, the fact that the Bears look so bad, that has to bode well for Geno, given that he's gotten out of the Shane Waldron experience, it seems like. So I think Geno, this team is throwing the ball a ton, which really helps. Like, Geno was, I believe, 2 years ago, a top 6 fantasy quarterback. Like, I don't think that's outside the range of outcomes this year.
Seahawks top 12 in pass rate so far this season, to your point about Ryan Grubb and the offense and what he's brought to Seattle. They play Detroit this week. This is their first real test. Seahawks are 3-0. They're going to play the Lions. This is a tough matchup. The game's in Detroit, but worth noting that teams that face the Lions this year are averaging the 9th most pass attempts per game. Remember last year against the Lions, Geno, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, had 23.1 fantasy points, had a huge game in this game last year. So Geno's probably going to make the love list this week, and certainly needs to be available in less than the 57% of leagues that he currently is.
Sam Darnold, a huge divisional game on tap against the Packers at Green Bay, is available in 70% of leagues. I mean, Matthew, he's thrown multiple touchdown passes in every game this season so far and has never looked better.
On the season, he's the second best quarterback in fantasy on a points per game basis. He should not be available. He shouldn't be available in 1 quarterback leagues. He shouldn't be available in 2 quarterback leagues. He just shouldn't be available. And he's out there in 70% of leagues. I think my point is if you took the name off of the back of his jersey, if you didn't have all this history around Sam Darnold, you said, like, look, QBX for the Vikings is putting up these kind of numbers. He leads the NFL in touchdown passes. You'd be like, oh, yeah, I should pick that guy up. But I think because his last name is Sam Darnold and we're used to seeing, the ghosts and all the jokes and people are just not buying it. But the MRI came through clean. He's expected to start this week, so no concerns there. They're on the road at Green Bay, then home to the Jets, and then they've got a bye. So the schedule is a little bit tough, but honestly, he's one of these guys. The other thing I'll just say here very quickly about Sam Darnold is, like, I don't need Sam Darnold because I've got Jaden Daniels or whatever your quarterback is. You feel good about your quarterback, but you may have a hole somewhere else. And so if you had, I think Sam Darnold is a legitimate top 12 starting quarterback the rest of the way. So if I'm like decimated at running back or wide receiver, pick up Sam Darnold and then trade your bigger name guy. I'm going to trade Jordan Love. I'm going to trade Anthony Richardson. I'm going to trade Dak Prescott. I'm going to trade even Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Trade somebody of real value to help yourself at other positions because you now have Sam Darnold that can fill in at the quarterback position. I believe in him in this system. They're only going to get better when they get Addison and Hawkinson back.
Jay, how about the return of the Red Rifle? What if I told you he's
the Red Rocket?
Yeah. He's the only quarterback this season. All kinds of names.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all we got.
Yeah.
I'll let you stew on a couple
Red
more.
Rock?
It's kind of lazy.
It is. The Red Robin?
Drop 2 letters off of Red Rocket.
What about how about the Red Light? I'm just thinking about things that start with red.
The Red Light District.
Yeah, the Red Light
Dalton
District.
policy.
Yeah.
That's actually a good
I like
one.
that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Thought you
I
would,
like
Matthew.
that one, Jay.
Thought you would.
Yeah, of course.
The only quarterback with a 3-touchdown, 300-yard performance this year, as we all drew it up.
So here was the worst thing about Bryce Young, is that the Panthers' offensive line was doing a really good job of protecting him, and he was still as bad as he was. And now Andy Dalton gets to reap those benefits because they tried to put Bryce Young in the best possible position to succeed with all the moves they made in the offseason. This offensive line is no longer the weakness that it was last year, and so now it's Andy Dalton with time, just airing it out.
Throws are insane, by
By
the
the
way.
way, that's a dime.
No, every throw is insane.
Yeah. He was phenomenal,
Yeah.
and I think that with those weapons, with Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen banged up with the hamstring. But look, Dalton, I think week to week is going to be a viable streaming option, which, by the way, this week plays Cincinnati, who might have a bottom 5 defense in the league.
Just got Cincinnati traveling on a short week, games in Carolina, and they've just got lit up, by my Commanders as well. And I said this the other day. I said this yesterday. And I said it on Fantasy Football Pregame that, again, Dave Canales, we've seen him with veteran quarterbacks, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Give him a professional veteran quarterback and his system, and they put up points, and maybe that's what's happening with Andy Dalton. And you said, hey, no, just as we all drew it up as if no one saw this coming. Oh, somebody saw this coming. Pete, do you have the clip from Fantasy Football pregame? I brought receipts.
That was,
you don't?
That was not in the
what do you mean you don't?
That was
the
not.
hell?
It was not in the rundown.
We talked about this.
No, he didn't.
Absolutely.
I love asking for something that's nowhere in the rundown.
Well, it's whatever. The fact of the matter is I said it. That's fine. That's fine. Just pretend this is me in my Sunday morning outfit where I'm like, shot for shot. What you say, shot for shot. That was one of my.
Oh my God.
That's one of my shots for shots, by the way. One of my shots for shots was Deontay Johnson, 16 fantasy points. We played it yesterday. 16 fantasy points because Andy Dalton's going to ball out. This is paraphrasing, but that's basically what I said. Is Andy Dalton is going to have a good game here. You guys will back me up on that, Jay.
Yeah, no, I heard you. Hey, Pete, can you roll the clip from 2012 where Matthew declared Arian Foster?
Yeah,
Can we just roll that?
Yeah.
Come on,
Let's
Pete.
do that one.
Speed it up.
I did. Honestly, I was early. I was early on Arian Foster. Go back and look at the tape. Yeah, that's right.
There's a project for next
You're
week.
damn right.
Pete. Good luck.
We're gonna find that. Yeah.
How about Daniel Jones, guys?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
About it?
Make Jay talk about Daniel Jones.
Thursday Night Football, the Cowboys, who, if you haven't watched, haven't looked very good this season, especially on defense. Daniel Jones available in 94% of leagues, coming off a 2-touchdown week, and the rushing attempts are there, which tells you better rushing production might be ahead.
So that's the key, is that Daniel Jones was a viable starting and fantasy quarterback 2 years ago, but I think he only had like 15 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Like, it was all about the rushing, and the fact that he has been able and willing to rush these first 3 weeks, that gives him upside. Because the thing is like, here's the secret about Daniel Jones. He wasn't great against Cleveland. Like, he didn't play particularly well.
Callback interception
he
was
was just giving the ball to
really
Malik
bad.
Neighbors, and he had the bad interception callback. But if he's going to run the ball and he has Malik Neighbors, that's all you need.
Right?
And that's exactly the point. I think that the anti-Daniel Jones is a potential fantasy sleeper argument this year was like, hey, how much is he going to run coming off the ACL? But he is running. Like, to your point about how 2 years ago he was a legit top 12 fantasy quarterback, and he threw 15 touchdown passes. He was running. But part of the problem is that his wide receivers that year was like Isaiah Hodgins.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Darius Slayton.
Who's still there somehow.
Right. I know. But he didn't have anyone. But to your point, if he's going to be running, and oh, by the way, he's got Malik Neighbors, the second coming of Juwan Jennings, then you know what? Like, all of a sudden, you're like, okay, this is 2-quarterback league viable.
Yep. And also, they're probably not a great team. So they're probably going to be throwing and dropping
Negative
back
game
a
script
fair
for
bit
sure.
on their way to the division title.
For sure. Whoever's in our league and has Daniel Jones should trade him to backup producer Pete.
Big Show is riding the Daniel Jones wave to success
Big Show, reach out to backup producer Pete. Offer for his best player.
You could probably get his first-round pick.
Exactly.
For Daniel Jones.
If anyone needs quarterbacks, I've hoarded them.
I know.
Beautifully.
That's why
I've been benching Darnold and Mayfield every week because I have Fields
That's why
and Burrow.
I'm putting bids in on Taylor Heineke
I
and
know.
Jacoby Brissett. Terrible league. Awful settings.
I
Run.
I get it.
It's run really
I'm with
poorly.
you.
There's not one redeeming quality about this league, besides the fact that I get to play fantasy football with all my friends.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoever your best player is.
And Jay.
And Jay. That's why it's the League of Assholes.
Yeah. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.